Okay. Well, good evening to everybody, and thank you for tuning in to this event this evening. We want to welcome our students, alumni, supporters, supporting sponsors, faculty, and staff. And new this year, and one of the very few things that is COVID is an advantage for, we are able to welcome friends and family to our, along with our second year students. So welcome to everybody this evening. So this is our College of Engineering hard hat ceremony, our virtual edition. And so we've been getting very good at pivoting and doing things a different way. And this is hopefully our first and only virtual edition of the hard hat ceremony. But we're going to still have fun and we're going to enjoy the evening. Just a few quick housekeeping items for our virtual session here tonight before we begin. So to help with the bandwidth, we'd ask you to please turn off your microphone and video, and please note that we are recording the ceremony this evening to share later with our thorough community. My name is Bruce Sparling. I'm the Associate Dean Academic in the College of Engineering, and I have the pleasure of being your MC for tonight's ceremony. Before we start, we say a traditional acknowledgement. As we gather here today, we acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. Students, tonight is a special milestone in your academic careers as you enter your discipline-specific studies. In doing this, you're setting the course for your future careers as professional engineers. And we're very pleased and we're very thankful that you have joined us tonight to publicly recognize this rather significant choice and your decision. So we appreciate our students, alumni, and sponsors understand support in keeping our thorough community safe as we move to this virtual platform ceremony. But I want to just reassure you that you're not missing out on the real thing, that when we can gather safely together again, hopefully next year, we will have a hard hat ceremony where you can actually receive your real hard hat. So don't worry about that. In the meantime, we hope you've received your package in the mail, and we have had some fun with your paper hard hat and speech bubbles, which we'll see throughout the evening as we go along here. So I'd like to give a warm welcome and note of appreciation to the alumni and industry sponsors who are joining us this evening, particularly those who will be formally welcoming you into your discipline and acknowledging your anticipated arrival into their alumni family and engineering community. So thank you as well. A very warm thank you to this evening's sponsors for their commitments to the engineering education. We're very, very grateful. We've got a lot of very loyal and generous sponsors in the college. And tonight we're grateful to APEGS, Skip the Dishes, K+S Potash Canada, Saskatoon Engineering Society, and our Statement of Ethics supporter, Hatch. For our virtual program, we'll begin with remarks from Dean Suzanne Cresta. Following that, we'll have each discipline inducted with a special speech and a welcome from an alumni or member of our thorough family. Once all disciplines have been formally welcomed, I will introduce our college's Statement of Ethics. We'll also hear from a representative from Hatch, which is supporting our statement. We hope students will keep the Statement of Ethics card with them as they complete their degree. Dean Cresta will formally read the pledge with our students. I'd now like to welcome Dean Cresta to our virtual podium and to share a few words with us to begin our evening. So please join me in welcoming Dean Suzanne Cresta.
Thanks, Bruce. I really appreciate the effort that everybody has put into this evening. And good evening. I'm absolutely delighted to be here tonight as our second year students are formally welcomed into their chosen disciplines. You're a special group of students. We have the shared experiences and challenges that this pandemic has presented to us. We also have the gift of valuable life lessons, how to be flexible, how to adapt and fit into our surroundings and circumstances, learning a greater degree of resilience than we thought that we were going to need. You're all strong and in the process of building the strongest possible foundation for your future lives. And I want to commend you all for being here tonight, for continuing with your educations, and for giving the best that you have to give to every day. As second-year engineering students, you've all made an important decision about your future and are now focused on your chosen disciplines. The things you learn over the next 3 years will be one of the enduring foundations and joys of your adult life. Keep working hard as you continue on your journey. As your professors, we expect nothing less from you. Will it be worth it? We're fortunate to have several alumni here tonight who've stood where you are right now, who can attest to the effort it will take to complete your degree and the great rewards that come with meeting big challenges. I like to share a story about my mom. She's led a very, very active life. And I asked her, looking back, what she would do if she could pick 5 more things. And she said something really interesting. Oh my, there are so many problems that need work. I really don't know where I would start. I think you just have to focus on the things where you think you can make a difference and try to be content with what you're able to get done. I wanted to share this with you because I think it's a helpful way to look at the circumstances we're currently facing. The message is very simple. Focus on the things where you think you can make a difference and take the time to pause and simply be content in the moment. While our current circumstances are still relatively new to us, many of our alumni have been through extreme challenges like wars and financial hardships. And through these experiences, it's clear that the importance of the sustaining power of community, friends, and family can make a big difference in your life. Especially now, I find that we need to make a conscious effort to remember how important these things can be. Very shortly, you'll be hearing from alumni and members of our thorough family. Our alumni remember their professors, the many trials and challenges we pose, and they share great stories of friendships and good times outside the classroom. You do need to work hard, and this is also a place and a time where you begin to build the right kind of balance in your life, getting done what needs to be done and allowing yourselves to be human and have fun. This is all part of being a well-rounded professional. I want to thank the faculty and the alumni who are here tonight to welcome our second years into their disciplines. It's a testament to the spirit of collaboration that we build in our college, which will serve these young people very well as they move out into the world to build their careers. Second year students, be open to the expertise and knowledge of your peers and professors. Master the skills of your discipline and know that you will continue to learn and grow throughout your careers. It really is a lifelong journey. Together, as engineers, you can achieve great things as you serve the world. Continue to apply yourself to your studies, take your professional commitments seriously, and enjoy your success. The pledge we will share with you tonight is a very serious and important one. It is the first step on your journey to becoming professionals, and it frames our expectations of each of you during your time in this college. On behalf of the entire College of Engineering, faculty, staff, and students, I sincerely congratulate each of you as you are welcomed into your disciplines and hope that this profession brings you as much challenge and delight as it continues to bring me. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you very much, Suzanne, and really appreciate those comments, and especially important are the ones about community. I know that you had some time together last year and you will be together again, and the people that are here with us this evening on this virtual call will become very important to you. So thank you very much for that. And I want to thank you again to our speakers, sponsors, APEGS, Skip the Dishes, K+S Potash Canada, Saskatoon Engineering Society, and Hatch, and special guests for joining us tonight and sharing your words of wisdom and advice, which, you know, it's moments like this that really do stick with us. So it is very important for our students. So we now move into the presentation of our virtual hard hats, which we will do program by program, and we'll start with geological engineering. So at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce alumnus Heather Isidoro as our first speaker of the evening. Heather, if you could now turn on your camera and your microphone, joining our virtual podium.
Great. Can you see and hear me, Bruce?
I certainly can.
Great,
so
thank you.
Heather joins us from Calgary, where she is the Vice President, Business Development for Pine Cliff Energy. She's worked in the oil and gas for the past 20 years, holding a variety of reserves and business development roles, a proud USask alumni. Heather also has her MBA from Athabasca University and is a board member of the Engineering Advancement Trust, which is an incredibly important organization to the college, which is also known as the EAT. So you'll see those footprints all around the building. We're delighted to have you here this evening, Heather, and thanks to you and your fellow alumni of the EAT for the continued financial investment and support of our engineering students.
Thank you, Bruce. And students, welcome to the 2020 virtual hard hat ceremony. I really wish I could be there in person to hand you your hard hat, but recognizing the times we're in and the need to adapt, I'm still grateful that the university found a way for us to get together virtually. As Bruce said, my name is Heather Isidoro, and I'm a 2000 Geological Engineering graduate and a former Engineering Student Society president. I'm also a trustee on the Engineering Advancement Trust. A little more background on the EAT. The EAT is a group led by alumni volunteers who encourage fellow alumni to support and give back to the College of Engineering. The EAT has been in place for almost 40 years and has made some really valuable contributions to the college over time. One that you might be familiar with is the Virtual Reality Lab. If you follow the footsteps around the college, you'll be led to some of the equipment that has been purchased by the EAT over the years. The next time you're in a lab, kind of take a second to consider that some of the equipment you might be working on was funded by former students to enhance your learning experience today. It's essentially the engineering alumni investing in the students to ensure that the legacy of the college continues to grow and prosper in the years to come. Now to the geological engineers, congratulations on your decision to go into geological engineering. Be very proud of your decision. I took a quick look when I was putting these notes together at the program description on the college's website, and it says geological engineering is the application of engineering principles to the natural materials and fluids found in the earth, including rocks, soil, groundwater, petroleum, and natural gas. So when you think about it, geological engineering encompasses all of the Earth's resources. And let's face it, right now, those resources are precious, they're valuable, and they are more protected and debated than they've ever been in history. You're going into a field of study where it has become more critical than ever to use or extract these resources responsibly to ensure some sustainability for the future. That's a huge and awesome responsibility. Here in Canada, we're a global leader, not only in responsible resource development, but also in environmental standards, labor standards, human rights standards. So not only are you studying in a country that has this world-class resource, world-class standards, but Canada also has world-class engineers, including a lot of alumni from the University of Saskatchewan. These alumni are developing new technologies every day to apply those engineering principles to these resources. They're learning how to do more with less, to repurpose legacy infrastructure to access more resources, to lessen the footprint of the extraction, to protect and reclaim the land, to ensure that future generations are left with a better world. The college has a motto, be what the world needs. And right now the world needs a lot of really bright, enthusiastic minds like yours to ensure the responsible development of resources for a sustainable future. You've got big shoes to fill from some of your alumni, and I can't wait to see what your generation of engineers will do. So work hard, have fun, don't be afraid to seek out alumni and ask them questions about what they do for a living as geological engineers. Congratulations again, and welcome to geological engineering.
Thank you so much, Heather. And inspiring words and for all the work you do for the college, you and your colleagues at the EAT. And congratulations to our newest group of geological engineering students, and you'll see some of them there with their hard hats, and we'll see more of them there next year when we get your real hats. So now we're going to move on to chemical engineering, and I'm pleased to welcome chemical engineering alumnus Elizabeth Law, or Liz, joining us today from Fort McMurray. So Liz Law graduated from chemical engineering in 2005, and over the past 15 years, she's been working in the Alberta oil and gas industry, starting as a process engineer in training, and now currently stewards 250 million plus turnaround maintenance capital portfolio. She recently completed her MBA from both Queen's and Cornell University. Outside her career, Liz is an avid traveler, community volunteer, cook, acro yoga enthusiast, which I'm not even sure what that is, but maybe she can explain that, and a recent dog parent to Farah, a 5-month-old pup who may make an appearance tonight. And Farah is very welcome, so please let her know that. So I'll ask Liz to give a welcome to our chemical engineering students.
Thank you, Dr. Sparling. So firstly, I want to thank the faculty and staff of the College of Engineering for going ahead with this virtual ceremony to welcome the incoming cohort of chemical engineers. And to you, the incoming class, I am humbled to join you as a chemical engineering alum to mark this important milestone of your education and in your life. I sincerely hope there will be a future opportunity where we can meet in person. Chemical engineering is a very broad discipline, but it all comes down to this. You are essentially concerned with transforming raw materials into useful products. Through your classes and practical labs, you will have the opportunity to study the fundamentals and learn about existing processes. In my time while working, I've also learned about how to manage resources while focusing on health and safety. While this hard hat is symbolic of your entry into the department, I hope you will also see that it is a physical reminder of your responsibility to the discipline and to those around you. As you enter this next chapter and complete your studies here at the University of Saskatchewan, I want to share a few pearls of wisdom I've gathered through my relatively short career. Most of these are represented as values for the company I work for and surprisingly represent a part of who I am and what I continue to aspire to be. So first off, safety above all else. Look out for each other and have the courage to speak out and act so our communities are healthy and safe. While this may seem like a lofty ideal, as you progress through your engineering degree, you will learn that using consistent standards, practices, and behaviors are foundational to this principle. We do what we say will do, and approach our tasks by being honest, respectful, and transparent. Secondly, perseverance and working together. It is important to never give up even when challenges loom large. 2020 has aptly shown everyone here the spectrum of challenges we have all faced in our personal and in our working lives. Remembering to look for the opportunity in any situation helps you stay focused on how things can get better and that you are not on this journey alone. Even though you are in this environment, I encourage you to reach out and stay connected with your cohort. Being stronger together will allow you to achieve amazing outcomes. And lastly, curiosity and lifelong learning. Learning for new ideas, new approaches will serve you well in your career and in life. The world is complex. Engineering will provide a framework in navigating these complexities and allow you to create solutions. And your learning does not end. You will forever be a student and be pleasantly surprised at the nuggets of knowledge you will pick up along the way. So while joining the ranks of engineers is hard work, it is important to keep in mind that this is not all who you are. My introduction by Dr. Sparling was designed to illustrate a few of my career highlights, but also the things I do outside of being an engineer. And to echo to Dean Cresta's comments, for myself, when I was in engineering school, we were told to work hard and play hard. I never really understood this until I convocated and realized afterwards that the key element of this motto is to make sure you explore what motivates you both inside, outside of work and school, and do more of both in a balanced way. So despite our current pandemic state, I strongly urge you to get involved in the University of Saskatchewan or Saskatoon community during your time in school. Create the opportunities to meet new friends, try new things, and have a richly colored university experience. I'm confident you will grow into the chemical engineer that you and your fellow engineering alumni will be proud of to have as part of our alumni family. And with that, on behalf of those in the discipline that came before me, I would now like to officially welcome you into the Department of Chemical Engineering.
Thank you so much, Liz, for those wise words. And I want to echo the welcome to our newest chemical engineering students. So now we move on to welcoming mechanical engineering students, and leading this portion is a double mechanical alumni, Shanti Bergen. Recently, earning her MSc degree in mechanical engineering, Shanti is working as an engineer for Graham Construction and recently finished the renovations to the North Battleford Hospital. I'd also like to thank K+S Potash for sponsoring and supporting our mechanical engineering students this evening. So please help me welcome Shanti. So Shanti, do you want to turn on your camera and mic? There you go. Now we can. There you are. Yes, great.
Awesome. All right. Well, hi. Thank you so much for having me be a part of your hard hat ceremony this evening. It's pretty special. I was a part of the first that got to have a hard hat ceremony, so it's always so great to be a part of it again. Unfortunately, K+S could not be a part of the ceremony this evening, so I'm standing in their place and welcoming you on behalf of all mechanical engineering alumni to this amazing discipline. Let me just get this open here. Sorry about that. There we go. So my name is Shanti Bergen, and I'm currently a mechanical engineer for Graham Construction. I did my undergraduate in mechanical engineering and finished in 2017, and I'm currently wrapping up my master's in hydraulics, specializing in fluid power. So when I was writing this script, I was trying to figure out funny stories and stuff, and the list got too long. So I'll leave you with this one sentence: that choose your friends wisely, as if your next breath depends on it. The years do get easier, but having good friends around you that you can trust and rely on to bounce ideas off of is extremely important. So keep that in mind. What I'd like to do is just tell you a quick story that I think is very important as a mechanical engineer to remember how important we are when we start being in the workforce and start making a difference in our society. So when I was growing up, I worked for my dad's company called Bergen Industries, and we designed augers, a lot of custom augers for people. And one day we had this farmer come in and he was like, I want to move grain really, really fast. My dad's like, well, what are you using? It's like a 10-inch auger. We're like, okay, well, we can do better than that. What are you thinking? He's like, 24-inch auger. And if you're a farm kid, you know that that's next to impossible. Like, you can't do that. And so my dad asked him, okay, what are your constraints? And he said, I need it to move it fast, not that, and I need it to be extremely reliable. And that's an important point. When you're going through all the exams, they're always going to list constraints. In the real world, they list a whole bunch more constraints. So get used to asking for those constraints because they make a huge difference on what that outcome will be, and it's very important. And so my dad said, well, what about a 16-inch auger doubled up? So you have two of them. So if one breaks down, you can continue to use the other one, and you're going to be moving 600 bushels an hour. And this guy was like, well, has it been done before? And we're like, no. Well, can you do it? Absolutely, we can give it a shot. So we were able to make the first double barrel auger that changed the way a lot of grain is moved in Saskatchewan, and be able to make it a lot more efficient, to unload a Super B in under 3 minutes. And it was just an awesome experience to be a part of as far as the design. But what's important as a mechanical engineer in that situation wasn't just to be able to move the grain and make a product that satisfied his constraints. We also made a whole mover kit underneath the auger. So they didn't have to use a tractor. They didn't have to move it around. It was all self-sufficient. We put a cup holder on there. We added floodlights. We added anything possible just to make that farmer's life easier in those situations. And I would challenge you, when you're working on your second year projects all the way up to your capstone, you're going to get these projects that seem like, oh, that's easy. I'll Google the answer, put something together. But try and focus on, okay, but what can I do to forward the research? What can I do to even make it that much better? It might take an extra week or so, but you can actually make something that revolutionizes the way people do things. I think mechanical engineers are an awesome group of people that are able to do that. So I challenge you to keep doing that as you start in your engineering journey here at the U of S, and then continue on. We've got lots of profs who are willing to give you extra knowledge past what they'll teach in the classrooms, and they're very excited to do so. So make use of that. So I could go on and keep telling stories, but I'll leave it at that. Really excited for you guys to start mechanical engineering. It's an awesome career, and I wish you all the best. So I'd like to officially welcome you into mechanical engineering at the University of Saskatchewan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shanti. So Shanti's been such a large part of our college in the last few years. We miss her as she goes out and starts her career in earnest now that she's finishing her master's. So congratulations on that, and congratulations to our newest mechanical engineering students. And there we have them on the screen. So I'll just allow that to cycle through. Good looking bunch of people. Okay, so now we move on to civil engineering. And I'm pleased to welcome Andrew Lockwood. He's here speaking this evening on behalf of the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan. So we want to thank APEGS for being a sponsor this evening, and especially thank Andrew for agreeing to come and speak to us. So Andrew is a double alum of the University of Saskatchewan, graduating with a Bachelor of Engineering in 2001 and an MBA in 2013. Today, Andrew is an engineer with BHP and president of APEGS. So we're very grateful to have you with us tonight, Andrew, and welcome.
Thank you, Bruce. Can you folks hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Perfect. Okay, well, welcome again. As Bruce said, my name is Andrew Lockwood. I'm a PN, so professional engineer, and current president of APEGS. And on behalf of APEGS, I'm excited to welcome you to the civil engineering program. Welcome all the engineering students, but since my focus is on the civil tonight, I'll especially welcome the civil engineers, or the future civil engineers. And obviously your program is one of the first steps towards fulfilling your full professional licensing. So APEGS, as mentioned, the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan, and it's the self-regulating body responsible for engineering and geoscience in the province of Saskatchewan. So we regulate on behalf of the public to make sure people are practicing engineering and geoscience ethically and safely and competently. So when you graduate from the U of S and you want to practice engineering in the province, you're required to register with us as an engineer in training, and then you'll practice obviously under the supervision of a licensed professional engineer. And once you've got enough of that experience, then you can fully become a PEng and make that milestone. So right now you're hitting one of the cool milestones where you actually get to choose your discipline. I remember that moment still when I picked. So I happen to be a mechanical engineer as introduced. So you might wonder, well, why the heck is a mechanical engineer welcoming civil engineers into the program? You know, on paper, we're kind of in the natural opposites if you think about it. You know, mechanical engineering, say it's a grain auger or something. If it moves, that means it's working. So in civil engineering, if you haven't figured it out already, if it's moving, it ain't working, and you got a big problem. So one of those things I think we're missing, unfortunately, from the circumstances of COVID is I wonder if they're still doing virtual boat races at least. And for the students, you guys might understand what that is. The parents maybe not so much, but hopefully I would still cheer for the mechs, but the civils always pushed us pretty good in terms of those boat races. So I hope you guys are doing well this year and you figured out some workaround for that fun event. So with that being said, you know, when we think about getting into the working world and realizing that all the disciplines, you know, the value everyone brings. Now, civil engineers, you know, arguably the oldest engineering discipline, maybe military engineering, might be slightly older. Yeah, you folks are going to be crafting the very foundations, the roads, the buildings, everything else that all the other engineers use to do their work and build societies from. So you actually are the absolute foundation of society, and that's a pretty awesome one thing that as a mech I'm certainly envious of. You know, you folks have such a large and long-lasting impact for society, and it's amazing to think of, and all the work that we rely on, all the other disciplines, and all the other, just the public and people from around the world rely on your work. have a lot of good friends and colleagues that suffer from civil engineering, and the world's certainly better for it, and I'm better for knowing them. So, when I think about the stereotypes, it's a quieter discipline. There's not as much flash in the type of work you do, and you wouldn't want there to be flash lots of times, because that would be a problem, maybe if there was a big boom or something. But the confidence is pretty cool, knowing that what you guys do, you safeguard arguably more lives and livelihoods than anybody else does. It's just such a broad, powerful discipline. So when I think of the hard hat, you see me, I'm wearing a goofy high-vis shirt, and that's quite purposeful. I hope it kind of reminds you. I wish I would have brought my hard hat with me too, if I would have thought about it. That for hard hats, it's a very practical symbol for you folks. Some of the other disciplines, they might never need or have the opportunity or the ability to wear a hard hat during work. Civil engineers, almost to a T, will be wearing one many times throughout your career. Sometimes you wonder, when you're in the middle of a flatland Saskatchewan on a flat highway, why the heck there's a dropped object risk and why you'd need a hard hat, but maybe it's for bumping your head when you get into the truck. But yeah, get used to putting it on and get comfortable with it when you get your actual one ready. If you're wondering, it fits, ran the numbers, it fits about 9.107 cans of beer or cola or whatever Sprite you're drinking, in case you ever need to carry that much at one time. Now, if you're applying the proper safety factor, and we're talking in flexure, you want about 1.67 is what I check with my colleagues. So make sure you're only putting 5.464 in it or so, just so you don't spill. You've got to make sure that you got a safety factor in there. I really do encourage you as a fellow engineer to make sure you get into the field and use that hard hat. See your work. When you're in the field, you're going to see what works, you're going to see what doesn't, you're going to see your mistakes, because you will make mistakes, and hopefully it's only when you're in engineering training after graduation and nothing bad comes from it. And hopefully you learn from those. You learn from the good and you learn from the bad, you learn from others' work, and you learn from working with your constructors and your contractors that are hopefully going to be developing your designs. So that hard hat comes with a history and reputation, right? So good and bad. There's one thing I want to remind young engineers, new engineers that are going to be coming out. So white hard hats are what would traditionally be what the professionals would wear. So engineers would be wearing those many times in the field. They can get a bad rep just because, and sometimes it's for good reason. Make sure you improve that the view of engineers with the people around those people. Practice it with humility and respect your work. So that's a hard hat, and it's not a crown. So you aren't kings and queens of the work site. You aren't all knowing and all seeing. You got to wear it, and you got to listen. You got to listen to the designers you work with, the constructors, the surveyors, the inspectors, the whole project teams, whoever it is that you're working with. They're an integral part of your work, and they make it successful, and you make it successful by working well with them. So lastly, this is coming certainly from my APEGS perspective, that a mistake that civil engineers make, you guys have arguably can lead to the greatest tragedies, right? If a doctor screws up, they might kill one person at a time. When a civil engineer can make a mistake, you might have a Mount Polley environmental disaster, or a Samarco or Brunildo tailings dam failure, Elliott Lake mall collapse. There's lots of examples of things that can happen if civil engineers make mistakes. So our job as engineers, as a profession, is to explicitly safeguard the public, and APEGS is there to regulate that. So you got to take that fearsome responsibility with you when you're informing your work ethic and the thoroughness and diligence that you applied during school. So APEGS and the College of Engineering, I'm sure your civil engineering alumni that I work alongside, and at least one MEC, are certainly committed to helping you achieve your goal of becoming a professional engineer in the future. So good luck over the next 3, 4, 5, whatever it happens to be. And I look forward to working with you folks when you become professional engineers and engineers in training. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, for those wise words. And I'd just like to say, stylish shirt, and we might consider all adopting that for next year's ceremony. So we'll put that in the notes. So, and I'd also like to thank our newest civil engineering students and being a faculty in that department. I just would like to echo many of the things that Andrew said. And so congratulations and welcome to the department and to the discipline. So there we have some of our civil engineering students and their fashionable hard hats. Okay, so now we're going to move on and we're going to welcome our environmental engineering students. I'd like to introduce alumni Janice Paslowski. Janice is a director with SNC-Lavalin working in environmental contaminated site management for SNC-Lavalin. She leads a team of environmental risk assessors in Canada within the engineering design and project management team. She strives to develop and provide practical and innovative solutions for clients' environmental needs with respect to contaminated sites management and environmental sustainability. So outside of her role at SNC-Lavalin, Janice is a dedicated alum of our college, a very good friend to the college, and we miss seeing her at our in-person events. So of course we see her tonight, and it's good to see you, Janice. So it's great to have you here joining us. And with that, this virtual stage is now yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sparling, and thanks, Carlene, for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here tonight, and it's an honor to be welcoming the environmental engineers. Congratulations to all the students here this evening, and a special welcome to the newest environmental engineering students. As you heard, my name is Janice Paslowski. I'm actually a U of S civil engineering graduate from the 80s, and I followed or somehow stumbled into a career in environmental engineering with a very similar economic downturn that we're seeing today in oil and gas. So as an environmental engineer, you've chosen a really global career, and we've heard it a few times tonight mentioned in other disciplines, and some of the tragedies of civil engineering failures have impacted the environmental world, and I've had the opportunity to work on those. So it's one that'll give you the opportunity to have a global impact. First, it was perceived as somewhat of an invisible discipline, similar to engineering in many ways. In its infancy, it's now a primary focus of everyone's daily lives and daily decisions. For example, today the environment is on everyone's political agenda, energy choices, it's on your weather network app. How we engineer an environment is central to our profession. All disciplines, we touch on it in every aspect of our life. Now we start raising our children at home, schools, with daily decisions from recycling, composting, choice of automobiles, coffee containers, and even our recreational activities. Don't underestimate the role you'll play in relation to the size of your discipline. Anticipate the growing importance of your role as an environmental engineer. Environmental surroundings are unique to every project, and with that comes unique problems. You'll never be bored. A formally identified environmental engineering undergraduate program was first developed in 2009, I believe, and has been CEAB accredited since 2011. Graduate programs were established in 2004, and I think I was one of the earliest ones to graduate from the environmental PhD program here at the U of S, where I continued my Saskatchewan career in the field. So while the discipline of environmental engineering may be young, the tradition and importance of safety, yours, the public, your colleagues, your teammates, is symbolized by our personal protective equipment and represented today by this hard hat that you're receiving. Perhaps it will be your first hard hat, and for some of you it might be one of many. You may have one in a job already, but it will protect you and symbolize our role to the public. Environmental work also forms a key aspect of multidisciplinary facets, and as you've learned already in first year, this is the one key aspect that you will continue to learn. Working together for the greater good of the public and the planet is of utmost importance. Teaching environmental responsibility is part of every discipline. We're in an unprecedented time where globalization has been front and center, with a single virus impacting every corner of civilization. Your role in understanding and building systems to assist the world in our environmental protection will be key to our future. I'd like now to officially welcome you to the environmental engineering discipline. Congratulations, best wishes for your unique ride through your education. Remember to stay connected to your profession, your colleagues, irrespective of stage or age. Look for similarities in goals, differences of opinion and perspective. Combine the tools and skills that you'll be taught and embrace the opportunity and the many doors that will open with this education. I really am looking forward to a safe meeting of you in person soon. Congratulations to all the environmental engineers.
Thank you so much, Janice. And as you said, congratulations to our newest environmental engineering students. And thank you for those lovely pictures. I enjoyed watching those as you were talking. So
Thank you.
So, Carlene, are you going to put up the environmental engineering students if we had? No, I guess not. Okay, so I'm pleased next to welcome Derek Botang to lead our presentation, to welcome our computer engineering students. Joining us today from Skip the Dishes in Winnipeg, and we all know Skip the Dishes. It's on my kids' speed dial. I'm sure that you come to our house on a regular basis, at least once a week. So welcome, Derek. Derek is a senior technology manager with Skip the Dishes, where he leads distributed teams of software developers in Canada, the United Kingdom, and Ukraine. So in addition to his many IT certifications, Derek is also a chartered professional accountant and holds a project management professional designation, as do many engineers currently. So with 25 years of experience in IT, management, consulting, and finance, Derek has worked in both public and private sectors and is an active volunteer and educator with CPA Canada and the CPA Western School of Business. So Derek, I welcome you and turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Dean Sparling, Dean Cresta, honored members of the faculty, distinguished guests, and of course, our incoming students. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to Electrical and Computer Engineering. I think as Andrew pointed out a few speakers ago, it's somewhat ironic that we introduce electrical and computer engineers to the profession by giving them a hard hat. Among the engineering professions, electrical and computer engineers are probably the least likely to need a hard hat as a piece of personal protective equipment. Most of you will spend most of your careers working in a nice, clean, safe office. It will be unusual for many of you to be out there inspecting a dig on hands and knees in a crawl space, looking at pipes or worrying about a crane moving material over your heads. Your safety tools are most likely to involve good office chairs, sit-stand stations, wrist rests, and ergonomic keyboards or mice and the like. Many of you may even work remotely from your place of business, such as we are doing now. And likely your workplace dangers will involve eye strain, sore backs from too much time at the keyboard, and repetitive strain injuries. And yet, the hard hat, I think, is still a very fitting symbol. If you think about the way things are these days, information technology is a great enabler. It is perhaps the greatest enabler in the history of mankind. In this day and age, information technology makes the dig happen. In the crawl space, it warns us of deadly gases and hazardous mold. It tells us where those pipes came from and lets us design where they'll go next. It controls the lift and the rate of rotation of the crane. And for as many people who need a hard hat to protect themselves, many more depend on information technology, not only to keep them safe, but also to let them live full and beneficial lives. Think about it. Could we live today without information technology? Something as simple as the ceremony we're attending right now was made possible through the work of your predecessors. Today, electrical and computer engineers literally determine whether planes fly or crash, whether buildings stay warm or grow cold, and whether food gets delivered to hungry people or not. And so I encourage you to treasure the hard hat you will receive. I encourage you to place it prominently near your workstation, to look at it and to think of it regularly as you do your work. Think not of how it protects your head, but rather of the importance of the work that you do in protecting, supporting, and enabling everything else around you. Think of the contribution you're making to our economy and to our to our way of life. Think about the opportunities it creates for you, and also think of the obligations. It is a real world stuff, and in a few short years, you will be in the real world too. So remember to set your goals high, to work hard, and to work smart. And also remember to look me up when you graduate. Skip is always on the hunt for good people to join our team. And with that, I welcome you to the College of Engineering and the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering in particular. On behalf of Skip the Dishes and the broader JustEatTakeaway.com group, I wish you success and excellence in your academic studies.
Thank you very much, Derek, and for reinforcing these themes about service and about protecting the public, which is central to the profession. And I want to thank Skip the Dishes as well for being a sponsor of this evening and supporting our computer engineering students. Skip the Dishes has been a very loyal sponsor for a number of years now. So thank you very much for being here and for bringing these words.
Yeah. We have a healthy office in Saskatoon as well. I think I have 6 developers on my team working at our Saskatoon office, actually at the University of Saskatchewan. So,
great.
Research innovation place. So, yes, we're quite happy to be involved, and it is indeed a great honor for me to be able to welcome the students.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So now please welcome alumni Karen Nielsen for the electrical engineering presentation. Karen graduated from USask Electrical Engineering and today is the Chief Development Officer with 7 Generations, working to connect the company's subsurface, business development, and capital planning with its core operations activities. Karen has held senior roles at ATCO Group, ARC Resources, and Birchcliff Energy. Thank you, Karen, for joining us this evening from Calgary.
Thank you,
Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Sparling, and hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can hear you great. Thanks.
Perfect. Technology check there. Thanks so much for inviting me as well to have this amazing honor of welcoming you into the electrical engineering discipline. Congratulations on being just over a quarter done. I guess that is if you're on the 4-year program, and for making it past your first year. And what a first year that was. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that those who chose electrical engineering discipline got the intro to electricity and magnetism in your first year. So if you can believe it, or maybe it's not so hard to believe, that used to be a first-year weeder course for us. And if you got it back in the day, you unequivocally joined the ranks of the rest of the electrical engineering discipline. And I have to admit that I'm jealous of each and every one of you. If I could go back in time, I would go back to that first day where on the 2nd floor of the engineering building, we walked into what would be our electrical engineering homeroom, 2C40, I can still remember that, which would be our homeroom for the rest of our days together at the U of S. Our year and many years before and after us took great pride in our discipline, our ability to collaborate, and especially our teamwork. In the Army, there's a soldier's creed. Now, this is dated and it's not politically correct, but it's called Leave No Man Behind. And I'd like to correct it for the times that we are in and claim in 2C40, we left no person behind. We studied together, we taught each other, we shared our notes, our insights, our dreams, and especially our stories over many, many nights of working and studying together. So my wish for you is exactly that you leave no one behind, that despite this COVID time, this online learning, social distancing, canvas, that you take the time and you make the effort, get to know each other, get to know your stories, where you come from, and together as a team, you cross that finish line in 4 years or 5 years. Make the most of every class. Try very hard to figure out the relevance in each one. And if you can't, it's time to memorize and move on. And congrats tonight on receiving your hard hat. And I second what Derek had mentioned. I know this is not exactly the forum or the experience that any of you would have hoped for to be welcomed into our discipline, but this is a historical one. And I encourage you all to think about the symbolism that lies within what we are doing tonight, why we are here, and how COVID has caused us to meet this way. As engineers, don't waste this opportunity to learn. When you glance at your hard hat through the course of your studies and your career, remember and reflect on this time. Somewhere, somehow, a virus got away on us. We were not prepared. We were caught in denial or even in disbelief. Our government was short policies and our hospitals not enough ventilators. Our economies were already weakened. It has destroyed lives and livelihoods more than I pray we will ever experience again in our lifetimes. This will undoubtedly impact how you see the world and how you choose to engineer your life. There's no better time to be an engineer, and the world needs you and your leadership more than it knows. Even though you will likely feel that electricals do rule the world, take a good look at your friends in chem, mechanical, computer science, medicine, the humanities. Trust me, you will be working on a team one day with every one of those disciplines. And my hope is that together you do learn from what we are going through today and commit to preparing us for these types of events. The expectations on our discipline right now are immense as we navigate change and emerging trends, whether it's our digital transformation, legislation demanding EVs, renewable power, automation, developing smart 15-minute cities. Your engineering and technology will be required to support the demands of investors, society, activists, policymakers, to say the least. So learn all you can. Absorb with passion the foundations of our electrical engineering courses, as you will be drawing on this as you start your career. And as you think about your projects and your engineering work at the U of S, your summer roles, and for sure in your professional lives, there's a guiding principle at Seven Generations Energy, where I have the privilege of being their Chief Development Officer, that I'd like to share with you tonight. Our company's name is actually an ecological concept that urges you, the current generation, to live sustainably and work for the benefit of the seventh generation into the future. It actually originated with the great law of the Iroquois, which holds that it's appropriate to think 7 generations ahead and decide whether the decisions made today would benefit the 7th generation. So whether you are designing something, creating something, innovating, ask yourself, will this benefit the 7th generation? So as electrical students, and as you are learning and thinking about how to apply your particular technology, I hope that you keep that 7th generation in mind.
Hi, Karen. I think you've, at least from my end, so thank you very much for those remarks. That's very interesting concept for a name of a company, and thank you for sharing that. And congratulations to our engineering, new electrical engineering students. So Carlene, can you hear me? I just want to make sure that everything else is working okay. The sound's still coming through?
Yep, we can hear you great. And if Karen hops on again and we get that bandwidth, we can just reconnect with her. Okay,
great. Okay, so anyway, thank you, Karen. That was very inspirational. I'm pleased now to welcome our double USask alum with a BE in Engineering Physics and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, Dale Hopkins, to lead our final presentation to all second-year engineering physics students. So there we have our electrical students showing up on the screen, and look forward to seeing them with a 3-dimensional hard hat at some point next year. So today, Dale is the Chief Technology Officer with Vandesta, overseeing and enabling their research departments and helping set the technology direction of the company. Dale has an entrepreneurial spirit, co-founding Lucid Helix Solutions in 2008. He is a technical visionary with a passion for the big picture, and we're pleased to have him joining us tonight. So Dale, welcome, and you have the stage.
All right, good evening. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak tonight in the middle of an interesting time like this. Normally, this event would be an intimate evening that would, continue building that engineering community and, inspiring a sense of solidarity amongst each one of you. But today, that aspect is missing. But, the purpose of the event remains the same. Congratulations on surviving your first year and choosing the correct engineering discipline. I laugh at I always get the introduction that comes from our website written by the marketing department. And so it's it feels a little heavy sometimes, but I appreciate it. Andrew reminded me of boat races tonight, which was amazing. I was a storied sailor in university. So at one point I jumped on the opportunity to help plan the office Christmas party when I started at Vendasta. And it was an event with about 100 people, and we started the night off with a boat race, and it was not nearly as successful as I remembered in engineering. So that is one part of your engineering education that does not translate well into the working world. But I graduated with an engineering physics and computer science degree in 2005, predating the computer engineering program. And my professional career actually started with an internship at IBM in Toronto working on databases. And then I moved on to working with programmable hardware at a company in town here called Vesima Networks. When I started, it was actually called VCOM. And when I graduated from engineering physics, there were 3 companies that hired EP graduates in Saskatoon. And when I graduated, both PMC Sierra and SED Systems weren't hiring. And so that's how I decided to work for Vesima Networks. And the exciting part is how that story's changed a lot. There's so many opportunities nowadays that it's tough to choose. For those of you entering engineering physics, you're entering an incredibly broad discipline with nearly an unlimited set of career options open to you. You've chosen the path with more math, more physics, more labs, more E&M, and fewer peers. And if that's not enough, engineering is already a difficult field, and you've probably chosen the path least traveled. So you're going to develop a pretty solid work ethic, and that's going to pay dividends throughout your life and your career. In my class of 2005 of engineering physics, I have classmates that have gone on to be academics. I've got more than one that has chosen to pursue medicine as a doctor, research scientists, software developers, construction project managers, and executives. So I mean it when I say that the opportunities are vast. So your studies here at the university give you an excellent theoretical base on which to build your career, but the benefits of secondary education go far beyond that. You're learning the art of critical thinking. So this is a willingness to consume material that conflicts with your worldview, evaluate the merit of that, and adjust your position when it's reasonable to do so. In today's world, you have an unprecedented access to information, and your ability to sift through that information in all its vastness and glean the useful kernels of wisdom is going to be your competitive advantage. You always hear that problem solving is an important skill and that you're learning it, which is true. You may not realize it now, but your studies provide you with a set of observations, models, and facts, and your assignments and labs then test your ability to solve problems and use the understanding you've established. This is incredibly important in your working life as it allows you to bring more value than just following orders. This ability to claim your own autonomy and see the purpose in the work you do is the true gift of an engineering education. So I would like to welcome the incoming class of engineering physicists. You're embarking on a journey full of incredible challenges, and along with them, you have the ability to literally change the world and what's possible.
Thank you very much, Dale. And I really do appreciate your words. It means so much more coming from somebody who's actually been out there and lived it. And so thank you for bringing that. And congratulations to our new engineering physics students. So at this point, I just want to ask you to please join me in a round of applause, virtual applause, I guess. We can all do this for all of our evening hard hat recipients. And congratulations again to everybody in all the disciplines for the choices you've made. So we now move on to our statement of ethics. So students, once you become professional engineers, you will be required to follow the regulations and bylaws that govern engineers in the province where you register to practice. And these rules include, importantly, a code of ethics. And that is something that all engineers, if you talk to graduating engineers, it's something that they all live by and hold very, very close to their heart. So you will all be, you've all received your statement of ethics card in the mail or via email. It introduces you to the high level of conduct expected of professional engineers. The statement of ethics outlines our college's expectations for your behavior as engineering students. How you conduct yourself now builds the foundation for your careers as professional engineers. And that's not just a statement, that is a fact. Ethics is like anything else. You have to practice it and build up those muscles in order to be able to really live it when you get out in a very complex world. So Hatch has joined us tonight as our ethics sponsor, and Hatch did help us to develop the ethics statement last year and to demonstrate their shared commitments to ethics in the profession. So I'd like to welcome a member of Hatch's team, Hannes Kruger, associate with Hatch, to share with you his role the role that ethics plays in the company culture and manifesto of Hatch. So welcome, Hannes, and thank you for Hatch's dedication and support of the Statement of Ethics. So Hatch, it's the stage is yours. Or Hannes?
Okay.
I can hear you.
Good evening. Okay. Thank you to Dean Cresta and the team for arranging this amazing event for our students this evening during these times that we live in. We are thankful for technology and engineers that made this possible tonight, right? Good evening to all of you. I want to join Dean Cresta in congratulating you, first of all, on reaching this major milestone on your path towards becoming an engineer. It's an honor and a pleasure to represent Hatch here tonight, and especially to be associated with a university for which it is important to educate and guide their engineering students on ethical issues related to the impact of technology on our society and scientific research and activities of corporations and professionals. I would like to challenge each of you now to think about what ethics means to you while I tell you a bit more about Hatch, and before I tell you what ethics means to us as a business and the Hatch family. Allow me for a moment to give you the 30,000 feet view of Hatch, where we are coming from and why ethics are so important to us. We're a global engineering company with 65 years and counting in terms of history, with our birthrights here in Canada. We are celebrating our 12th year in Saskatchewan with our office located at Innovation Place here on the campus. Our global network of 9,000 professionals work on the world's toughest challenges, and our experience spans over 150 countries around the world in the metals, energy, infrastructure, digital, and investment market sectors. We are an employee-owned company and as such then independent. Based on our founders' early principles, Hatch has built an unwavering and strong reputation for conducting business with integrity and earning the respect and the trust of our clients and our employees and the communities in which we work. Our vision here encompasses this, and we are passionately committed to the pursuit of a better world through positive change. That could only be possible and achieved through ethical conduct. Ethics is the moral compass that guides us as human beings and as engineers in all that we do, in our personal lives as well as in our professional lives. As engineers, we are accountable for conducting our trade in a manner which is safe, respectful, legal, and sustainable. Rather than giving you a dictionary definition of ethics, I want to highlight tonight to you some of the values from our manifesto that embodies ethics. Achieving no harm means no harm to the people that we are working with, or the communities that we are working in, or the businesses that we serve, the environment that we operate in, and to the future generations that will come after us to inherit this planet. Andrew Lockwood listed a few examples of how important this really is, right? As engineers, we also need to do our homework. It is one of the key principles guiding us to ensure that we build practical solutions that are safe, innovative, and sustainable. Being unconditionally honest. It is expected from us as engineers, and even if we know that it might not be the most liked idea in the room. And then living our commitments with integrity. You can lose many things in life, but if you lose your integrity, you lose your good reputation. How committed are you to a safe, respectful, sustainable, and legal conduct? Ethics means that we are taking our social license responsibility seriously as engineers, and that it is always at the forefront in everything that we do. I want to conclude tonight with a few thoughts. Ethics is about global compliance. As engineers, we need to comply with all laws and respect the customs and business practices of the countries that we are working in. Ethics is also about responsibility and accountability. We need to honor our commitments, take responsibility for all matters over which we have control, and are accountable for the results and the consequences. Furthermore, ethics is about respect in the workplace. We need to maintain a supportive, professional, and a positive workplace environment by appreciating the unique skills and the experience and the talent of each individual, treating everyone with courtesy, fairness, and respect. Ethics is also about relationships. We need to build relationships and teams based on trust, honesty, integrity, and respect. Ethics is also about confidentiality and privacy, really important. We need to understand and respect the sensitive and confidential nature of the information that we are provided in our roles and by our clients, and we should not release this information without appropriate consent unless it's required to do so by law. And lastly, ethics is about fairness, integrity, and honesty in our dealings. It is important that we prohibit acts of corruption, bribery, or improper influencing of decision makers. We need to avoid any situation that creates or appears to create a conflict of interest, and informing clients of all known or perceived conflict of interest. And then we need to be competing fairly and ethically and offering services on the basis of our qualifications and the experience, and do not make any misrepresentations. My final note for this evening is the same advice that I gave to the students as well during last year's hard hat ceremonies. Let your ethics be your guiding compass. Let it be your North Star. All the best to you for the next 3 years of study and achieving your dreams to be the next Jerry Hatches and Thomas Edisons and Henry Fords and the Alexander Bells and Elon Musks of our time. And remember, have fun. It's really important. I think Dean Cresta said that as well earlier this evening. Thank you to you all. Dean Cresta will now lead us through the ethics pledge.
Thank you very much, Hannes. And we're just to wait as we get the pledge up and ask Dean Cresta to lead us through the pledge.
All right, everybody, are we ready to go? Can you hear me, Bruce?
We can hear you.
All right. If you would say with me, as a University of Saskatchewan engineering student, I know that my attitudes, actions, and behaviors must always reflect the high standards of the profession I have chosen. What I do today builds my future. I promise to conduct myself with integrity, fairness, courtesy, and good faith towards others, and give credit where and when it is due. I promise to be a leader in demonstrating my commitment to academic integrity and upholding the honorable and ethical nature of the engineering profession in all that I do. I promise I will treat all students, staff, and faculty with respect and understanding while valuing the diversity of our thorough family. In taking this pledge, I accept my responsibility as a USask engineering student to uphold these promises to myself and to others, so together we can be the engineers the world needs.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. And thank you again to Hannes and the team at Hatch for their continued support of the Statement of Ethics and their contribution in putting that together. And I think what strikes me in this evening and evenings past is there's always two themes that come out of the various statements, and one is on safety and the protection of the public, and the other is the importance of ethics and the fact that you'll be known by your ethical behavior, and that's really what's going to build your future for you. So thank you for that. So now we're coming towards the end of our ceremony, but I'd like to welcome Juniper Willard to the virtual podium. He's speaking on behalf of the Saskatoon Engineering Society, one of our sponsors for the evening, and he brings a message of congratulations on behalf of the engineering community. Juniper is a regular at all college events. He's a very, very strong supporter of the college. He's a computer engineering alumni from the University of Calgary, but we won't hold that against him. He began his career as an intern at Nortel and has been involved in numerous startup firms, spent years at Vecima, and is now with the Canadian Light Source. So welcome, Juniper.
Greetings. I don't know if it was mentioned, I am also the president of the Saskatoon Engineering Society. We'll get to that later. On behalf of the Saskatoon Engineering Society, I'd like to congratulate you for passing your first year of engineering, formula few understand or even know exist. Recall back to my first year at the University of Calgary, as was mentioned there, we had an 80% failure rate. So hopefully the worst is behind you. Looking to the future, it's no great contest that we live in a time of change. Change is needed and inevitable. Engineers are the key to technology, and technology is often a key to change. Think of the effects the internet have had on society. These have been widespread and significant, or they've been good and ill. And I want each and every one of you to think, are the changes that you make beneficial? Not just ethical, but are they going to be beneficial to society? However, technological skills are not always the most important. Hard skills may get you that first few jobs, and that may seem what is most important at the moment. However, soft skills would allow you to advance. It's never too early to start working on the soft skills. In that regard, networking is invaluable. Whether you're trying to find an employer, a client, or a vendor. Networking is what really allows you to grow. Volunteering is an excellent form of networking. It allows you to meet senior professionals with their guard down, and also it allows you to often take on roles that as a professional you might not have the opportunity to do so until far later into your career path. Also, it somewhat lifts the veil as to what happens behind the boardroom doors, or what you might actually end up seeing in a management position. In that aspect, I'd like to introduce the Saskatoon Engineering Society. We serve engineers and students in the Saskatoon region. Now, you may not be aware, but all APEG's members in Saskatoon and the Saskatoon region are members of the Saskatoon Engineering Society. So we assist members by educating and boosting engineers. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this isolation has been somewhat trying for us, but we are trying to roll out a new set of online tools This will allow us to conduct virtual networking and social events, professional training, and allow us to match up mentors and mentees. So on that aspect, I think the most important thing for each and every one of you to do is go to our website there on the screen and sign up for our mailing list. Thank you kindly.
Thank you so much, Juniper, for your remarks and also for all of your support over the years and the support that the Saskatoon Engineering Society gives to the profession and to our students. So it's very much appreciated. So, and I'd like to thank all of our speakers and presenters tonight. We had some excellent presentations, some very thoughtful words. And a special thank you to all our alumni, faculty, staff, and family members who are able to join us this evening. To our alumni, thank you for welcoming our students into their disciplines, your presence here, and your insights into the world of engineering, and that makes it so much more real for our students. It's so valuable and offers a great inspiration to everybody in the room. We'd like to thank again our sponsors, APEGS, K+S Potash Canada, Skip the Dishes, Saskatoon Engineering Society, and our ethics sponsor, Hatch. And I'd like to say a personal thank you to Carlene and the External Relations Group for all the work they've done. This has been a very busy week for them. This is their third virtual event in 3 days, and every one of them has gone off without a hitch, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into setting it up and making sure it runs smoothly. So thank you so much, Carlene, and your team for this event. So lastly, and before I sign off, I'd just like to congratulate again all of our second-year students who are entering their engineering program this year. With this evening's ceremony, you are officially inducted into your program of study. Thank you all for joining us this evening, and stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you in person as soon as we possibly can. And I've really enjoyed seeing your pictures as they flashed by, and we will see you in person soon.